I remember I did this in another episode. I can't really remember what it was that made me feel this way.
Can you put it into words?
This is how I feel about talking about sex and sexual desire as an Arab Muslim woman. Today we're going to be talking about why repressing sex does not work. It's not working. It's not working. I grew up believing and being taught that sex is scary, that it's dirty, and that it's something that's out of control. Basically something that you should put in a box and then put a lock on that box and then put that box in a safe and then bury it under a tree. You can't shut sex down. We can't not talk about it like it's not there, because it is. And repressing sex and the dialogue around sex doesn't stop people from having sexual desires. That's not how it works. Adrienne Maree Brown, in her book, she says that she feels very underwhelmed by the strategies of eliminating sexual attraction as a way to end rape culture, because it feels like we are asking people to be less honest about how they operate and their desires. And hear me out, I want to end rape culture. We're on the same team here, but I want us to do it, and Adrienne Maree Brown wants us to do it in a way that is sustainable and actually realistic and has longevity and is addressing the root. Denying sexual attraction just makes it harder for us to have healthy, respected boundaries and transparent conversations and honest conversations about our desire. Think about it. If an animal is repressed and caged, then it's only a matter of time before that animal has a harmful or toxic outburst. The level of harm that we see both هنا في أمريكا وبالسعودية after decades of trying to completely eliminate and wash out sexual desire, we're seeing it show up in these patterns of harm and outburst that are a direct result of a disrespect of boundaries and consent. I also want to clarify that this episode isn't Ratana being like, let's all bang, or we all have desire. It's natural, it exists within us, and the truth is the only way that we can manage it and be in a respectful relationship with it is when we acknowledge its existence. First of all, sex is natural and it's necessary for life to exist. So sex is of the most essential human behaviors, just like breathing, eating, and sleeping. Without it, life wouldn't exist. And it's not just humans. If you look around, are they moving in a circle?
How are you doing?
I have no fucking idea. You will see that everything is fucking itself into existence, as my teacher Ilana Mehta says. Flowers pollinate, hamsters fuck. The giant Pacific octopus makes love for hours. The bonobo monkeys have orgies. Are you telling me that the hamster is evil and you're like, down with the hamsters?
I am down with the hamsters.
That's a different meaning.
It is a different meaning.
I am down with the hamsterness. Let's talk a little bit more about how sexual repression can be damaging on a societal level. And here I want to bring up Transformative Justice. I Googled it and I couldn't find exactly who it originated from, but I learned it from Adrienne Maree Brown. And the concept of transformative justice really encourages us to address the problem at the root instead of just putting a band-aid on it. And I just want to give a trigger warning for anybody that is really sensitive to hearing about sexual assault. It is something that we're going to be talking about right now. So in cases where abuse and harm is happening in the context of sex, what transformative justice would ask us to do is to really take a deep dive into the root of why this harm is happening in the first place, in order for us to really understand and transform that, versus pointing fingers and asking for punishment, which is crucial for the ecosystem of change, yes. But let's look at, for example, the Metoo Movement. So the Metoo Movement has a lot of calling out, pointing fingers, exposing stories, asking for punishment, incredibly important steps. And if we don't dedicate the same amount of energy to understanding the root cause of why these people, and they're usually men, sexually assault others, why they felt that they had the right to disrespect and cross that boundary in the first place, then we are just putting a band-aid on the issue and we are not addressing the cause of it. So to be super, super clear, yes, it is absolutely important to expose and call for justice in terms of people that are doing bad and harmful things. And it is absolutely crucial to also understand why they did those bad things so that we can transform. So how do we begin to address this? Obviously, we are not going to solve this in a YouTube video. Adrienne Maree Brown encourages us to imagine a world where we shift our focus that is exclusively on punishment, and can we put as much focus on enthusiastic consent, clear and concise boundaries, a world where those things are ubiquitous and cool and standard. Let's khalas with suppressing sexual desire, because we can't. We might as well find a way to have a healthy relationship to it and make that relationship divine and spiritual and full of respect and intentionality.